This episode is brought to you by the wonderful theme of Thelma and Louise. So,
Oh, nice.
I had to represent for the ladies. Joining me on the conversation today, my first repeat guest. Can't believe it. Uh, we had good feedback from the last time you were on, Mel. So I want to thank everyone for coming back. If this is your first time, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. But today we have everybody's favorite final girl. We have Mel from My Killer Podcast.
Well, hello, and thank you for having me back, KB. This is always fun hanging and talking movies.
Always, always. I have to say, we had a lot of people on and we get a lot of comments and everything like that, but I've never gotten YouTube comments and Instagram comments about a certain video until we had our first conversation.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Nice.
And I don't want to be like that person be like, well, leave a comment or leave a like or whatever. But, people really liked it. So I was like, when I was doing it, I already had the whole spooky season concept in mind. And with the name like My Killer Podcast, you would think she's the perfect person for spooky season.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm glad you were able to come back and join me.
Yeah, I'm excited and I'm honored. Thank you for having me back. I didn't know I was your first repeat, so that's exciting.
Yep, 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 yep. So we're just gonna jump right into the five spooky season takes. Might be the same answer as before, might be different, but let's find out. So we're gonna start with number one, and number one is name the horror movie that made you fall in love with the genre, Miss My Killer Podcast.
Well, I'm gonna go with probably something different this time because like I said before, I fell in love with horror based off of a lot of different movies and since this is the spooky season, so I don't really remember what I said last time to be honest with you. But Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a huge horror movie for me when I was younger. Me and my brother watched it all the time. It seems appropriate now because all of the Killer Clowns merchandise that's being dropped, which kind of makes you wonder if there's going to be a 4K coming soon. Hopefully, fingers crossed,
Hopefully,
arrow.
hopefully. Well, they
So we'll
did
go with that.
Carrie, and that's a Universal. Is that Universal? Whoever did Carrie also did Killer Clown, so we're getting a Carrie 4K, so that might be right behind it.
Nice. I'm kind of hoping Arrow does it though, and I hope they do it in the fashion that they did that purple slipcover they had for the
Hmm.
Blu-ray. Oh,
Hmm.
such groovy artwork. Out of all of the Killer Clown artwork, that one is my favorite.
Well, we know they like to just put the same artwork when they go from Blu-ray to 4K, so this time it might
Hmm.
work to an advantage, but
Yeah.
we shall see. Well, the main reason we had Mel back is because she calls herself your favorite final girl. So we wanted to do an all final girls episode where we talk about final girls in horror movies. Needless to say, this will be spoiler filled, not spoiler free. So I'm going to put little chapter marks. So if you didn't see the movie, just move on to the next chapter. That way, we don't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it. But with that in mind, I'm going to say number two, name a couple of your favorite Final Girl movies.
Nice. This is my favorite thing. So, I'm just gonna preface this question with I'm not necessarily picky about my final girls, but I definitely have a flavor of final girl I prefer. I
I
have
get it.
yeah, I have final girls that are like circumstantial final girls, you know, the trippy, folly, screamy ones that kind of just accidentally live. And then you have your like butt kicking final girls that live because they just kick butt and they fight back and they're awesome. So that is where my love for final girls falls. So the first one, I'm gonna show off some physicals. Sydney Prescott in Scream. So
Mm,
this one is kind of borderline because she does kind of in the beginning screamy folly, accidentally kick butt, but towards the end and throughout all the movies, she really works to be that bad girl who lives because she makes herself live, not because it was an accident.
yeah. She even broke the final girl horror rules and she still lived.
Yep. So she is definitely up there. I mean, I'm not going in any particular order, but she's definitely one of them. So the next one is Geraldine from Demon Knight. I absolutely love her because she's also a butt kicker. And when I first seen this movie, which granted it was a super duper long time ago, I didn't think she was gonna be the final girl or the final person standing. And then she
Mm,
was, and it was just mind blowing and it was awesome. And she then took on the role of the hero at the end. So then
yeah.
that was even better because then she's not just the final girl anymore. She's like seeking out, the demons and stuff to kill them. So she
The
took
the
the place of the
thing
hero.
the thing I like about well, first of all, Jada Pinkett at the time played the
Hmm.
role. The thing I liked about it is that, like you said, she was the one you didn't expect. And without saying all the different horror tropes that happen, you don't expect a black person to live. Let's be real. When there's a black person in a horror movie, you don't expect them to live. So that was good. That was surprising. You
And
thought
she's a
she's
lady, so it's always good to
right.
have the ladies win as well.
I have to say, I haven't seen this one in a long time, and I rewatched it the other day, and it holds up. I really had
It
fun,
does.
and all the Tales from the Crypt and Creep Show and all that stuff. I love that stuff because I think it plays so well. Even though this
Hmm.
wasn't really like an anthology like one, but this really holds up being a full feature film.
The performances are great and the practical effects are awesome. And it gives you those Halloween vibes without being like specifically a Halloween movie, because you have
Oh
these
yeah.
monsters rising from the ground and
hmm
all
I
they kind of all look
even
like Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, even from the beginning, the intro as they're going into the first scene and you get that tracking camera shot, it's like this is setting the scene for like spooky season, like trailing through the
Hmm.
house and everything like that. So I really enjoyed going back and watching that one again.
Yep.
And yes, she becomes the warrior at the end. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was super awesome just to see her journey through the movie. And like I said, she goes from being a little scared in the beginning to butt kicker in the end. And then she steps into the hero role. And then now her mission is to go out and save the world or whatever. And it was just a
hmm
really cool transition for her from beginning to end. So I don't have a physical release of the next one because I have it on streaming. Ready or Not, Grace and Ready or Not. So I picked this one because she kind of came out of nowhere, I guess, because you're kind of watching this movie and you're expecting her to fight back and at least last to the end of the movie in some fashion. But man, she kicks some serious butt. She's running all over the place and she's getting dirty and grimy. And like by the
And
end, she's just
injured.
a tattered mess and but
hmm
still looking real good while she does it.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
So
There,
that's why I picked that one.
there's something about the unsuspecting like heroine in a movie like that. It
Hmm.
This was my first time watching it, and it reminded me. Did you ever see this movie starring Ice-T called "Surviving the Game"?
Mm-mm.
Without giving the whole thing away, this guy is like a homeless dude, and he signs up to work at this resort as a hunting guide. Wakes up the next morning with a gun in his face, and they reveal that they're not hunting animals, but they're hunting him. He's the prey, and it's like
Oh,
you got a 30-second head count. go out and survive the game. And
Uh-huh.
just to have a similar premise, but supposedly with your new loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to see it go from this young woman of shock into this I will survive kind of attitude. It's
Mm-hmm.
just great. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that one was really good. So the next one, I don't know if you would necessarily count Clarice as a final girl, but because she was kind of just strong-willed and everything in the beginning anyway. However, everybody knows the story, but as it goes along, she does kind of become a target in a weird way, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she's hunting this serial killer and all of this stuff, and she makes it to the end, and I don't know, she's very inspirational to me just because she was strong in the beginning and she was strong all the way to the end. Uh, but like I said, I don't know if you'd necessarily count her as a final girl, but I guess I would put her in the butt kicking category. So
She definitely grows up throughout the movie though. Like
hmm
you said, she's strong in the beginning, but it's like military school strong, not like
hmm
strong-willed or, be able to endure the mental games that are being played. And
right.
also the fact that she's a woman in a typical man's environment, there's a lot of growth. Do that again. They didn't see you do that.
I don't know if you saw the stream the other day where every time a train went by, we were doing the Lost Boys thing, where they're hanging below. We were like,
Yeah, yeah,
so now every time I hear a train go by, I'm like, Dad, let's go.
yeah. I didn't even hear it. I didn't hear the
Oh,
train.
you didn't? God, it sounds so loud to me. I don't know.
Maybe you got some good noise reduction on your software or something. I didn't hear
God,
it,
I
but
hope so. I need to put some like sound padding or something.
yeah, I saw that episode. Shout out to the Rat Pack, by the
Yeah.
way.
Okay, so my next one is, and I didn't bring out my physical release of this one just because it's a bummer to look at.
I
It's
know,
the
I know.
Nightmare on Elm
I
Street
Which
collection.
one do
The
you have?
I
The
have
DVD?
the Walmart exclusive Blu-ray one.
Mm.
So it's basically like one Blu-ray case and all the movies are in there. And it's like, I think two movies to a disc. I don't know. It's really upsetting to look at.
So we're
But
talking Nightmare on Elm Street.
yeah, we're talking Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street. She is less of a butt kicker, I feel like, but she goes through the psychological gamut with Freddy Krueger and entering her dreams and stuff like that. So I feel like she's more headstrong than physically strong because she does kind of trip and fall her way through the whole movie. But she lasts for several movies, so I'll give her that. But yeah, like I said, she's super smart and she's able to like think her way out of stuff, and she really takes it psychologically.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, when you look at the subsequent movies and they refer to her as the girl that went crazy. It's like,
hmm
okay, that's her legacy. Great.
But she
That's what you
knows.
get for running in oatmeal steps.
I love those movies so much. They were so creative with every single thing in those movies. They're so
Hmm.
cool. I do have two more. I'll do one as an honorable mention, but I really do want to talk about this one. So, Sarah Connor from Terminator. I don't have the first Terminator. I didn't realize that. I have Terminator 2.
Mm.
But I mean, she's even better in Terminator 2. I would actually almost highlight her more in Terminator 2 because she in Terminator 1, she's kind of figuring out what's going on and she's still fighting for her life and stuff like that. But in this one, she's conditioning herself for battle and for war. And I absolutely loved that about her in this one. And she kind of reminds me of my momster a little bit in this one too, because they were just kind of well, back when my mom was younger, they were like similar build. They had similar hair. My mom has like the long hippie hair and and she'd wear it back in a ponytail like that. And my mom would always exercise and stuff. So she always kind of reminded me of my momster for some reason. But man, I just really, that really spoke to me when I was younger. And I always just
Yeah.
imagined myself in her shoes in Terminator 2 and just kicking some serious butt and, being strong-willed and that kind of thing. So that really spoke to me in this one. And she's the ultimate final girl because how many movies did she live through? Like even
Quite a
the
few.
newest one, yeah, she's like all old and still kicking butt in the new
And a
one.
TV series too.
Yeah, so I had to buy that new one just because she was like old and still looking good and kicking butt, and I loved it.
There's
But
something about that first thing when you see her in Terminator 2, that first time you see her and she's doing the pull-ups and she gets down and you see how much more ripped she is compared to like how she was in the first movie. I mean, she had the little diner outfit on in the first movie and pushing back on the floor to get away from him. Nah, she was ready to go straight up against him in two.
yeah, she's like running around in a white beater and sweatpants, no shoes or socks. My favorite scene of Terminator 2, and it's a boring one, but it's my favorite one, is when she like has that police baton and she's like holding it behind her arm and she's running through the hallways and she's just about ready to just kill somebody with that thing. And
Hmm.
she starts hitting people with it. I'm just like, dang, girl. Like, get you some. I love it so much. Yeah, that's
Uh,
my honorable mention. Ripley and Alien. Sigourney Weaver, one, is so beautiful.
hmm.
So incredibly beautiful. And two, yeah, she just kicks some serious butt in all those Alien movies. I mean, I don't I don't prefer her story arc when you put all of the series together. It kind of sucks what happens to her later. But man, yeah, she kicked some serious butt too. Her and Sarah Connor were like hand in hand when it came to like epic, strong women of the time. And I just looked up to them so much when I was
Yeah,
younger.
yeah. Something special. I just spoke about this with Mika and Kira. It's something about those first two Alien movies that just there's no replacing them with the subsequent movies that came along in the rest of the series. It's just like those two stand alone for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were talking about the trauma of returning to space and, returning to the threat of the unknown, basically, and how that was horror in that sense. But it's almost like by the end of that movie, it's like she's ready for anything,
Mm-hmm.
and she says that famous line. So I was surprised, and maybe it's just the subcategory that you went into that you didn't bring up the biggest final girl that everybody thinks about. Like I actually did like a survey, and I said, I say final girl, who do you think of? And being that it's this month, everyone said Laurie Strode. Everybody thinks Halloween.
Well, I'm not a Halloween girl, Those movies are this I was trying to explain this to somebody the other day without sounding like a complete turd, but I was just like, those movies are fine. They're not bad, they're not great, they're just fine, and I can watch them and be entertained by them and stuff, but I don't want to watch them all the time. And Laurie Strode was always kind of an annoying character to me. Like I love, I don't know. I don't know how to explain myself here without sounding terrible and like having people hate me for my opinion, but she just was always
So
kind of annoying, like
so after this video, please go and watch Mel's video on her picking up the new Halloween triple pack that just came out.
wait, whose video?
Yours.
Mine? Oh yeah.
You say it's okay, but you just got it.
Well, yeah, because I don't hate the movies. I do like them. And actually, everybody hates those last three movies, Curse, Resurrection, and H2O. But honestly, like I did like H2O. I thought
Me
that one
too.
was decently entertaining, so I did want that one. on 4K for sure. I
Hmm.
don't remember Curse that well, so I'll
That's
have to go.
funny. I same thing. I don't remember
Yeah.
Curse that well. H2O, I remember I went to see in the movies because it was like her coming back and the 20 years and all that stuff. So I
Mm-hmm.
remember going back to see that. But I don't remember Curse and Resurrection. I probably watched that on TNT and TBS more than the actual movie itself. So the
Mm-hmm.
unedited
Yeah.
version, it's just terrible. It's corny.
Well, and it's not a good movie in the sense of movie making, but it's entertaining because it has that cheese factor in it, you know. It's just like, why are you doing what you're doing? It's hilarious to me, the things that happen in that.
Hmm.
And for me, I'm one of those people that if I can get entertainment value or even just laugh at a movie, I'm cool with it. You know, I'm not going to be reaching for these movies all the time, but I am entertained by them, so I do want them in the collection. And they're nostalgic watches around Halloween. You know, I'm not going to watch them this Halloween. I'll watch H2O and Curse probably because one, I want to watch H2O, and two, I don't remember Curse, so I need to revisit.
Yeah. But if you need a laugh, watch a movie with Busta Rhymes.
But yeah, I normally don't pick up movies I don't like. Like I won't buy a movie I don't like unless it's a blind buy and then I watch it and I'm like, oh man, that movie was garbage. And then I feel
Mm,
bad for buying it. But I like to blind buy movies just because it's fun when you watch one and you're like, dang, that's a hidden gem. You know what I mean? That's so exciting to be able to do that. But yeah, a lot of times I get burnt because the movies aren't great.
yeah. Let's finish this up.
Sure.
Let's do a couple more questions. So number three, name a classic horror movie that everybody loves but you can't stand.
I guess I could probably say there's a couple Alfred Hitchcock movies that I feel like are a little overrated. I just
I
feel like
thought
they're
we were
overrated.
friends.
I know. I'm not saying I can't stand them because I have to do research and actually really look and see about movies I can't stand. But I do feel like there are a couple Alfred Hitchcock movies that are kind of overrated.
I'll allow it. Continue.
Okay.
Like what?
That's it. No, that's it. I'm just gonna go there.
You're not going to be specific. You're just going to leave that like lingering over the gravity of our
Well,
friendship
I'm
here.
afraid
So
that if
every
I
time I
tell
look at
you which
you, it's going to be
one,
like Mel hates Hitchcock movies. That's all I'm going to think now.
well, I feel like regardless of what I say, everyone's just gonna say Mel hates Hitchcock movies, which I loved Psycho. That one was great, but I feel like The
Great movie.
Birds is a little overrated. A little bit.
I'll allow it.
Okay.
I'll allow it. Because I just straight up laugh at that movie. I
Oh.
know that's not the point of it, but call me sadistic when the children are running from the school and the birds are chasing them and they're falling down and like busting their butts. I just break out in laughter.
Have you
So now
seen
you know
Birds
more about
too?
me. Now you know a little more about me, but yes.
Well, I'm
And
glad
it's
we're on the
after that
same page.
annoying song that they sing in the school. So it's like, oh, do something to them, please. So
Ah! See, you are on the same level with me. See, we're friends again.
okay. Okay. That was redemption on your end. All right. So number four, let's flip it. Name a critically hated horror movie that you love.
Off the top of my head, probably a lot of the ones that I just picked up, like Return of the Living Dead. I just picked up that 4K. And Return of the Living Dead 2 and Return of the Living Dead 3. I feel like those are probably critically hated, but I didn't look them up to figure it out. But I absolutely love those movies. The practical effects are amazing.
Would you believe that Return of the Living Dead has a 91 on Rotten Tomatoes?
Does it really?
Yeah. People like that
Wow.
movie.
Good. I'm
Clue
glad.
Gallagher. But two,
Mhm.
5%.
5%. I'm not
Yeah.
surprised because two is a little weird because it's like you have Return of the Living Dead 1, But then when you go into Return of the Living Dead 2, they bring back all of the not all of the characters, but some of the same characters, and you're like, wait a minute, I thought they died in the first one, and now they're bringing them back in
Hmm.
the second one. What's happening here? And then when you get to Return of the Living Dead 3, it's like a completely different type of movie. It feels like it shouldn't even have been in the trilogy that it was in. Well, I guess there's like two other movies now, but
Yeah, but the thing about two that I really enjoyed was great special effects in that movie. I have to
mhm.
say, I wouldn't buy
Yeah.
it now, but I appreciate it for what it was.
Oh, I'll totally buy it. If they put that one out, I'll buy all of them.
Okay, so five, and you've done this before, but who would you like to see me have a conversation with on this channel?
What about Miss Jess? I gotta hang with my ladies.
I have not, and I saw that the other day that she's taking a break from YouTube for a little while. I don't know
I
what
did
that's
hear
all
that
about.
too.
So,
Some people get.
I understand.
Hmm.
I
Well, she
totally
has
get
some
it.
really good takes and some really good taste in movies. So when she comes back, you should get her on because she's super fun too.
I will do my best to do so. But I want to thank you again, lady, for joining me.
Yay! Thank you for having
Yay.
me.
Anytime, anytime. When I start doing live streams, you're just going to be an automatic guest. If I could get
Yes.
in on your schedule. You're a busy lady
I'll
still.
always make room for you.
That's love, people. That is love. We're going to just
Yep.
end it right there. That is love.
Heck
Thanks
yeah, my
again,
man.
Mel. Thanks again.
Thank you.